AI in research is using artificial intelligence programs, methods, or tools to help researchers improve their workflows.
All my research projects are related to real world problems where we try to find a way to use AI to solve some problems in the industry or the healthcare.
At the same time, you cannot stop it. This is happening. So the question is, how do we take advantage of AI without outsourcing our brains to it and becoming just, button pushers all the time?
At the company level, in Europe, you have this Industry 5.0 idea. You have what they call corporate social responsibility, the corporate social D policies. So you have a lot of policies which are focused at companies to take up their responsibility towards those who are working within the organization. It's called human centricity. So put the worker at the central, for example, in the way technologies are developed. In the development phase, in the implementation phase, and in the way this relates to customers, make the person responsible also for the way that goes. If you're responsible, you can't escape. If you have impacts on your environment, you need to deal with that. You need to solve issues in that respect. So that is an approach at the industrial level. There's also something what they call Society 5.0, which built on these kinds of ideas. So I know that in Japan there's a lot of thinking on this subject, but it's also something that is put at the center in our European countries, which should also be the case here.
The medical data are really sensitive data. And we will come back to this point where I was saying we need rules, we need regulations, because if, for example, in our country, we have already that I'm a researcher, I should pass a specific training, I get a specific certificate that I am aware how to deal with the sensitive data, because there is a lot of things that should be taken in consideration that maybe if you don't get a training on that, you will not know it.
I think it's probably beyond data governance is AI governance, because a number of countries around the world who has always had to some extent, some laws and regulations around the data, protection of personal information, etc. And I know that in Morocco we have the same as well. We have an organization in charge of this, and the data is, to some extent, has some laws and policies that try to protect them. The problem now with all these open sources technologies, it's people going and providing their own information willingly. So even if you have laws and regulations, jurisdictions protecting your information and your data, I mean, everyone uses, or most people use, social media accounts, and you feed these social media accounts with your personal information. People post their pictures, their kids' pictures, holidays. They post personal information about their preferences in life, about their views on different topics. So I think it's a tricky matter, actually. Even if countries have laws and regulations around data, there is still the people willing to share their information and helping these companies building their products and upgrading the versions of their products thanks to the information shared by people. I think it's a tricky equation.
Technology often exaggerates the divide between the haves and the have-nots. I mean, we have known about a digital divide for a long time. And it is absolutely true that the wealthier the country, the more technology that it uses. This technology is no different. Some people argue that the technology will close that divide because through the use of the chatbot or the Gen AI, people can experiment with education, can become self-educated through the technology, the so-called autodidactic. You can do it yourself. Even at that level, this technology will not be readily available to many people. It requires individuals to already be relatively sophisticated in how they understand the technology and how they understand the asking of questions and the use of answers. So it's not a panacea to the problem of the North-South divide.
There are hundreds of very bright minds in Morocco at this university thinking about how to use these kind of technologies and develop other things. The same is happening in Europe at a lot of universities. We're building our own foundational models. We're building our own approaches. We're putting that in an open access and open environment, trying to share those things to improve our societies, to improve the relationships, to find better ways forward.
That's why I think that we have to put the conversation and discussion to the level of what are the opportunities that this technology is offering us and how do we actually mitigate the risks. Because now, what do you think about all this knowledge that will be created by AI, that will be served to train the new AIs? So we can easily see that it will converge to something that is AI thinking. So how much of the humans is going to stay there? That's for me the main question. I don't know who really knows, but it seems like if you think about it in a second, it seems like it's going to something that only maybe AI is going to be able to figure out.
The danger that I see with all these tools that have become public very quickly, for my taste, is the fact it's not the technology itself 100%, it's the misuse of the technology. Now, everyone thinks that they are experts of AI because they are using ChatGPT or they are using Gemini or Copilot or whatever. And this is where is the problem, because behind this technology or behind this AI, there are algorithms, there are mathematical models. So if we don't really understand what is behind it, we run into the risk of this over-reliance and thinking that this is a magic box where we put some information and we get an answer. Wow, this is magic. But nothing magical about it. There are mathematical models, there are computational algorithms, so it's designed by humans. So I think the first thing that we have to be aware of is we need to understand what is behind the box. Using it just for using it, it's a big danger, because that means that actually we trust a machine that could tell us whatever it wants based on how it was programmed, because it was programmed. It's a program behind the scenes, fed with data, obviously, without getting into all the technical details. But it's very important that people understand what is behind the machines, and to create a safe use of these algorithms or of these bots, we need to understand the algorithms and the models behind them.
The question is, to what extent, when you say it's only a tool, it's almost, a lot of people say that AI is the equivalent of electricity when it was created. So you can say that today electricity is just a tool, but look at it, it's everywhere. You can almost do nothing without electricity.
So there's a message there that actually these techniques, they have some power to help solve intractable challenges, in the sense that they can accelerate experimental designs. They can move the scientific research field from hypothesis-driven, where the physicist, the chemist, or the biologist designed the experiment based on his own hypothesis or knowledge, to research discovery-driven research, because the world has moved very fast.
Imagine the development of the AI within the research. I can imagine an AI for a researcher having artificial intelligence where I can have a discussion like with another researcher. I'm not saying that the AI will replace the researcher. I'm saying sometimes researchers need to discuss about a point in order to have an idea. So it can be a tool to simulate, and you discuss an idea. I need to find a solution to this. Why I cannot use this function? The AI will say, the function is not adapted to the situation according to this resource. So I guess it will have this capacity to stimulate the human intelligence and help the researcher to deep dive in the questions and staying in what other researchers has already done.
In the European context, this is translated into what they call Industry 5.0. So it's not only insisting on Industry 4.0 type of technologies, but it's also having the understanding that if you only think in terms of technology, then you're forgetting that you have impact on the environment, you have impact on the persons. And Industry 5.0 puts human centricity, sustainability, and resilience central. I think value-driven industrial policy is important for the future.
I'm convinced, because our future has to be saved by technology. This is the only way to save the issues. It's not. I don't believe in the change of behavior of the people. They will not do it. It's too difficult. If you ask someone, stop taking the plane to go on holiday, ask every European, nobody will do this. Say, no, I deserve to take the plane to go on a weekend to Barcelona and then to come back. That's my freedom. Oh yeah, but you are polluting. Yeah, okay. So it has to be solved by technology. But before you can solve it, actually, you have to train the people. You have to create great minds, great brains, people that are able to think. And this is why this place is so important.
Well, look, it's very important to know that there are few subjects in which there has been so much misinformation circulated, so much exaggeration, and so much simply false impressions being given. And so one of the essential things in a university education is to help students to be able to distinguish between what is actually there and what is just misrepresentations. And I think that's true of university education in general, is that we're obliged as educators to encourage curiosity, encourage the asking of questions, to be critical of the answers that we get, to be able to understand what the implications of those answers are, and to be able to put to use the answers that we actually manage to learn or achieve, whichever way you want to look at it. So nothing of this is simple, and it is completely wrong to think that AI is going to take over and do all sorts of things for us. It is something that will assist us to shape a better future.
We believe that privacy is sacrosanct. We should do the most possible to protect the individual from what happens at technology firms. I believe that that's important. We also have, of course, technologies like robotics, cobots, exoskeletons, and all those kinds of instruments. We have developments in drones in all kinds of directions, all very interesting, but they can also all be used for the wrong purposes. Of course, it is a complicated world. We have a lot of conflicts. Technology is used to be dealing in these conflicts, but we also should have an understanding of what the limits are. So the type of bombs that you're using, the type of technology that you're using, there are a lot of question marks that can be posed there. And it would be good if we as humanity would agree upon certain rules and some guidance in that respect.
People need to understand how when they put their information on social media or they provide their information without any type of security around them, they are putting themselves at risk of being part of the big machine pipeline. There is certainly a divide between the North and the South now in the AI technologies. And the big race at this moment that we're talking is between the United States and China, obviously. And everyone is looking, trying to find their space around. But again, let's not get caught into this race and this media campaign about conversational chatbots and conversational AIs, there is much bigger space for other countries, for other nations to be also building their own AI technologies.
Deepfake, and they start to generate people saying things that they didn't say, starting to generate. This is why I come back to the point that we need laws, we need stuff, because when you give a really powerful tool in the hands of people that are not aware how much this tool is powerful, different drastic thing can happen. It's like nuclear. You can use it to create a bomb, or you can use it to generate electricity. What prevents people to create a lot of nuclear bombs? It's laws. So this is what we need for AI, because elsewhere it's gonna be really have a very bad impact on the society.
Look, education is one of the most important things that a society has to do. The amount of money that's spent on education is enormous in every country. And it should be enormous because it is so absolutely important. Education should be delivered using the latest pedagogical understanding and tools that are available. This technology presents itself in a way that we're able to use it to support the educational system. It is true that some cheating can be done, but it is not enough for us to turn away from the technology and say we shouldn't use it.
This is really the time where people are confused, people have different opinions, and our young researchers are in a situation where contradictory information come to their mind. And I think having an event about this is really crucial, especially in a university, to have all the community that is concerned, which are researchers, and to discuss and talk about this AI, how it can be used as a tool, how can we avoid using this AI for a biased use, to spread awareness, to share things that we are afraid about, to talk about it.
That's why I think that we have to put the conversation and discussion to the level of what are the opportunities that this technology is offering us, and how do we actually mitigate the risks? Because now, what do you think about all this knowledge that will be created by AI, that will be served to train the new AIs? So we can easily see that it will converge to something that is AI thinking. So how much of the humans is going to stay there? That's, for me, the main question. I don't know who really knows, but it seems like, if you think about it in a second, it seems like it's going to something that only maybe AI is going to be able to figure out.
I think the key for me is always the human usage has to be really not controlled, but taught. We need to teach people how to use them and show them opportunities versus risks. And I think that's the key for me moving forward.
And secondly, one of the things that we often do is we take for granted that everybody knows what education is for and why they should be educated. I don't think in all of my years of being taught at school and at university that anybody ever bothered to tell me what education was for and why I needed to acquire it. It was sort of assumed that everybody would know it. Well, they don't. And people need to be informed that this is something which develops them, makes them into the sort of person who can have a more fulfilled life. The more educated you are, the more opportunities there are available to you, the greater the role you can play in your society. And I think most people want to play a role in their society.
People should understand that the older generations, that they've consumed a lot of what the future will be, and we shouldn't continue in that way. So we should work on those policies to make sure that my children, my grandchildren, the older generations, that they all can profit as equally from what this world has to offer.
To capture that, to be able to do so, you need to have the right people. you know. And so we are out of time, but I think we can still save the world with people that will come out of universities like this place here.
There is a lot of programs. There are many different programs at the university for bringing in an AI culture, embedding it in the way we do things inside the university, in education, in research. You're aware of that everybody here can have an AI account and use ChatGPT, for example, for different purposes. Deep research as well as a part of ChatGPT that is very useful for researchers. So the university is certainly taking the path of, let's say, the university is serious about AI.